What is up, everybody? Today we have a different kind of video for you. This is something I've always wanted to do, or probably try to get into, and it's horror stories. So today I'm going to be reading a random Reddit horror story that I found. I don't know if it's gonna be good, but we will see if it's scary or not. If it's scary, let me know down below. But I'm honestly excited because this could be a new series and I'm really looking forward to it. So without further ado, everyone get cozy, get your favorite snack and lock in, cause we're about to get scared. This story comes from a Reddit user called Toasted-squishmallow, and it's called "My 4-year-old son has an imaginary friend called the Tall Boy." Part 1. I need help. I don't know where else to turn, and I know how this is gonna sound, but I'm terrified for my son. This morning, my 4-year-old looked at me over his untouched cereal and said, "The tall boy says he could take me to see Mama." My wife died last year, a car accident. My son barely remembers her, but let me back it up. It started about 6 months ago. My son, I'll call him C, started talking about a new friend. At first, I thought it was sweet. You know, he's an only child and I work from home, and honestly, I thought maybe I wasn't doing enough to socialize him. Kids his age have imaginary friends, right? Honestly, I was kind of relieved he had someone to play with, even if it was just pretend. He called him the Tall Boy. The name was a little odd, but he's only 4, so I didn't give it much thought. I asked C what the tall boy looked like. He just shrugged and said, "He's tall." Alright then. For the first month it was harmless. C would have conversations with empty air. He would giggle at jokes I couldn't hear, and he would often be sitting on one side of the room playing with his toys. And he would always set out a toy for the tall boy. When I would ask him what they would talk about, he'd just say, "Just stuff. He's my friend." Then he started setting a place for the tall boy at dinner. An extra plate, an extra cup. And he would get upset if I didn't leave an empty chair next to him. "That's where the tall boy sits," he would say, looking at me like I was being rude or something. So naturally, I just went along with it. What else was I supposed to do? It wasn't hurting anything for me to set out an extra plate and cup for dinner. Then, the first red flag came about 2 months in. We were reading before bed, and out of nowhere, C says, "The tall boy says you had a dog named Dakota when you were little." I stared at him for a moment. I did have a dog named Dakota when I was little, but he died when I was a teenager. There's no way he would know about that. I've never told him I had a dog. I don't even have photos of Dakota, and my wife never met Dakota either. There's no way he could have known. "Who told you that?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "The tall boy," he said like it was obvious. I told myself maybe I'd mentioned it before and just forgot, right? Maybe he heard me on the phone with my sister or something. I was trying to look for any rational explanation. But then, he said, "The tall boy said he was hit by a truck." The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. That's exactly how Dakota died. I was at school. My mom told me he had run away because she thought I was too young to know the truth. I didn't find out the truth until I was 16. "See, where did you hear that?" "The tall boy told me," he said, and went back to looking at the book like he had just told me the sky's blue. I started to pay more attention after that. C talked to the tall boy constantly. In his room, in the living room, even in the bathroom. Wherever C was in the house, the tall boy was apparently there too. But never when we left the house. Never at the park or at the grocery store. Only at home. I'd even seen him waving to an empty corner in the room, or an empty chair every time we left. Then, that's when I started hearing things. Whispers when C was supposed to be asleep. At first, I thought he was talking in his sleep. But when I pressed my ear to the door, I swear I heard two voices. C's high-pitched chatter, and then something lower, raspier. I would tell myself it was just the house settling or weird sound carrying in from outside. Then the breathing started. I'd be working in my office and I'd hear it. Slow, deliberate breaths, like someone breathing right behind me. I'd spin around. Nothing. It would happen in the kitchen while I was making dinner. I'd feel like something was behind me, and I'd feel breath on the back of my neck. But nothing would be there when I turned around. It would happen in the hallway, when I was folding laundry. Always when I was alone. Doors started opening on their own. I'd close C's door at night, and an hour later it would be wide open. Trying to convince myself it was nothing. I'd blame it on the old house, drafts, bad hinges on the doors, and that sort of thing. But then, C's room started getting cold. Not just cold, freezing. Even with the heat on, even in the middle of the day. I bought a small space heater. It didn't help. I had put extra blankets on his bed, and he would still sleep in a hoodie. When I asked him if he was okay, he would just nod and say, "The tall boy doesn't like it when it's warm." That's when his behavior started to change. He got quiet, stopped playing with his toys. He would just sit on his bed and stare at the corner. He would have conversations with nothing. When I tried to join him, he'd get quiet and look at me like I had interrupted something important. He stopped eating, or barely ate. He would just push his food around and say he wasn't hungry. But I'd catch him whispering to the empty chair next to him. Once, I swear I heard him say, "No, I can't. Dad, I will get mad." I tried talking to him, asked if the tall boy was being nice to him. C looked at me with big, terrified eyes and said, "I can't make him go away." What do you mean, buddy?" I asked him. "He won't go away," he whispered. "I asked him to, but he said no." I told him imaginary friends aren't real, that he could just stop playing with them if he didn't want to anymore. C shook his head. "He's not imaginary. He's real." I didn't know what to do. I thought about therapy, but what was I supposed to say? My kid has an imaginary friend that scares him? It would just tell me that it's just a phase. Then, 3 days ago, C said something that made me feel like I got punched in the gut. We were sitting on the couch watching cartoons when he looked up at me and said, "The tall boy said that Mama was listening to the Yellow song when she died." My heart stopped. My wife was listening to Coldplay's Yellow when the drunk driver crossed the median. I know this because the song was still playing when the paramedics arrived. I never told anyone that detail. It's too painful. I can't even hear that song anymore without thinking about her. There is no way C could have known that. "C, how do you know that?" "The tall boy told me," he said. "He says he was there." I wanted to grab him and shake him and demanded how he knew that. But he's 4 and he looked so small and scared that I just held him and told him it was okay. But it's not okay. Last night, I heard footsteps in the hallway. Heavy, slow. I grabbed my gun from my side table and went out to check. C's door was open. I hid the gun behind my back and looked. C was sitting up in his bed, staring at the doorway. "C? He's here." "Who's here?" "The tall boy." I slowly turned on the light, hands shaking, and then nothing. But C kept staring at the empty doorway, eyes wide. See, no one is here. Yes, there is. He started to cry. He's always here. I brought him to my bed. He clung to me and cried himself to sleep. And this morning he said, the thing that made me come here, the thing that made me come to Reddit, hoping someone can help me. The tall boy says he could take me to see Mama. I asked him what he meant. He says, if I go with him, I can see her again. C said, his voice flat, emotionless. He says she misses me. I'm writing this while C is at preschool. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should keep him home. I don't know if leaving the house even matters because this thing, whatever it is, seems tied to C, not just the house. I'm scared of whatever the tall boy is. He's trying to take my son from me. Has anyone else experienced anything like this? What do I do? I can't lose him too. I can't. Please, if anyone has any advice, I need it. Wow, guys, it took me a few times to really read it and digest it how I wanted to, but I think this was a really good story for a Reddit one, and I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I hope it was scary. I'm probably gonna edit some spooky sound effects here and there, but wow, this was really fun to do, and it was good practice reading in character. I did try my best, so hopefully it could entertain y'all. But with that being said, thank you for watching. This was the first of many horror readings, so stay tuned for more, and I'll catch y'all next time.